We each have two folks. We all have two persons, and I don't think you're crazy. We have an easy voice. That's the voice that we all love. That is mommy's voice, comforting you and telling you everything will be fine. It doesn't matter how good you are. Just loves you, regardless of how messed up your life is. So that's the one voice. This other voice, which we go far away from, says, hey guy, you ain't doing anything. So we strive to push this voice out of our heads entirely, and we live here in this area. So first turn up this voice over here, which is shouting unpleasant things to you. That voice in our head says, you know what, man? Dude, you are not doing shit. I'm not saying you should underestimate yourself. I am saying listen to the truth. And the truth is not among the 20%. The reality is in the other part of your brain, which says, look, man, you're squandering a lot of percent. We have an additional 80% that we are not tapping into because the remaining 80% is suffering. Pain, failure, self-doubt, darkness, and then a lot of light. However, in order to reach this light, you must first go through all of this. So many of us know I can get over here. But over here, guy, things are a lot better since I have to go through this unpleasant trek. This is from 20 to 100%. This garbage in between is not enjoyable. So we decided to live here. So everybody asks, how do you do that? You understand exactly how to achieve that. You know exactly. It's not a magic trick. There's nothing I say that involves a magic trick. It's all boiled down to a really primitive worldview in which we just happen to do things much like breathing. Breathing becomes normal, as if we weren't aware of what we were doing. That's how you must conduct your life. When the alarm goes off at 4 or 5 a.m., your mind says no. Just say, this is what we do. It's what we do now because getting where you want to go involves a lot of pain. And I don't mean bodily agony. I'm not suggesting you have to break yourself free from the mental anguish of having to do something you don't want to do to reach your desired destination. When I was 297 pounds and obese as hell, wanting to be a Navy SEAL, the scariest thing in the world to me, even to this day, was the possibility that it could have been my life. I believed I was doing my best at the time. That is the scariest thing in the world, I thought then. 297 pounds working for Ecolab, spraying for cockroaches and earning $1,000 per month. I felt that was my full potential. A few years later, I was nowhere near that 106 pounds fewer, having graduated from Navy SEAL school and doing all of these other things. Looking back, I realize I was trying hard. That is why people must grasp what is in us. We don't know until we start trying hard, and I mean really hard, when you're obsessed with, hey, this is my new normal. Wow is my new norm. This is not always fun. It's not always supposed to be fun. And that's when you know you're trying hard. And so others listening to us who may be at 20% or 30%, you know about, yeah, I'm going hard. I'm going all out. However, they are not seeing any outcomes. How do they actually shake themselves out of that? We're all fighting a mental struggle with ourselves. That is always true, and that is all there is to life. The most powerful thing in the world is your own brain. It can work for or against you. And instead of focusing on all the negative things that happened, all the things you didn't have, the people who called you names, all this crap in Brazil, again, you start thinking, wait a minute, I just visualized this. And now I can take things to the next level. Next level. Because the visualization helped you make it past the SEAL team. It did. And I was able to see the finish. So when I was 297 pounds overweight, couldn't run a quarter mile, and was drinking milkshakes and eating boxes of donuts, I thought, man, how would it feel? For a brief moment, so I was grabbed by 22 guys, graduated. I saw this feature on TV about these guys going through Navy SEAL training, and I wasn't a great swimmer. I was frightened of the water and all that junk, dude. But at the end, it says 22 guys, this command officer up there, and he delivers this fantastic speech. And I was like, man, I wonder. So I began envisioning myself as the 23rd guy in these dress whites, sitting with these guys, getting that Navy SEAL, graduating from Navy SEAL training. I was like, God. So I positioned myself there. I was like, man, that is an amazing feeling. I ranked myself at 297, unable to compete with these outstanding men. I responded, man, if I could feel that, it would change my life, even if it only lasted a second. You get the certificate, walk over the stage, and what happens next? But I didn't know that back then. My mind wasn't. I assumed I'd be in that moment forever. So I said, wow, man, if only I could feel like this. And what was the emotion you wanted? So bad achievement, no triumph. I wanted to win. Not like beating someone else, it was not about that. I wanted to go the distance. Everything in my life, when things became difficult, I quit. If it was reading, it would explain why I wasn't particularly good at it. I wasn't very good at writing, so I quit. I couldn't catch on as quickly as you. I needed to work harder than you. Therefore, I quit. I wasn't very good at stuff, so I quit. I'm not very good at this. Man, if only I could go that extra mile to finish. I want to complete. I want to feel victorious. And for me, triumph didn't mean winning. It had just finished. So I said, if I could feel like these guys do, it would change my life. But what I learned was that the finest feeling I had was when I was alone trying to reduce the weight I was carrying. I had to shed 106 pounds in less than 3 months, and I began to feel victorious. It was not about going to Navy SEAL trainer. It was not about being the 23rd person in that chair. I began to realize this by going to war with myself on a daily basis and combining these problems, aspirations, and insurmountable obstacles together. So it wasn't about dropping 106 pounds for me. Shedding 5 pounds was an accomplishment. I lost 10 pounds, then 50 pounds, and then the more I did this, the more confident I became, and as my confidence grew, I knew that these guys couldn't accomplish what I was doing right now. I had no coach, no trainer, and no money. I wasn't sure how to lose weight. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just working. I was simply sacrificing. And then all these different tools started popping up, but I would never have found them if I hadn't put self in an extremely awkward situation. We're all looking for toughness. We all want it, but we search for it. Toughness is not present in a comfortable atmosphere. Those of you who are listening to this will not discover it.